to my party. We're just getting started.
It is Monday night in Phoenix, and you're locked into a brand new episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast. My name is Matt, and I know we usually come to you Friday. Lately, it's been hit or miss, but there's been so much going on in the world of Marvel today that I felt like it warranted a go live. It warranted for us to have a conversation, to have a little chat about the state of the MCU and all these leaks that are coming out, because let's face it, Marvel right now is leakier than a runny nose on a toddler. It's leakier than that faucet in your grandmother's bathroom. For someone from the Russos who said we're going to contain the filming of Avengers Doomsday to try to prevent leaks. Well, it doesn't look like the security on that set, or maybe that the security is so lax because they think that they're so leak proof that they're not worried about people potentially trying to leak things. And that's kind of where our top story starts tonight, is that's exactly what seems to have happened, as there is a TikTok user that is claiming that they broke in and snuck into the set of Avengers Doomsday, and they even recorded video evidence of it. Now, I'm not going to play that video because Marvel is taking it down, striking things. I don't want to do that, but I will show you some clips that are stills from the video of different locations that are potentially in Avengers Doomsday, and it reveals two major, in my opinion at least, major filming locations for Avengers Doomsday. And go ahead and bring it up on screen here now. So this is just kind of the trail that this person took to get down there. Now, I've seen the video all over TikTok, but this comes to us from the way of James Mackwell, and a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today comes from James Mackwell. Now, James Mackwell's, people are trying to discredit him on Twitter right now because he's kind of a new scooper on the scene, but he's really not. He states that his old account got taken down and now he's trying to rebuild, but he's claiming that he's the scooper that's responsible for leaking the entirety of the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness script, which turned out to be 100% accurate, as people were trying to discredit him at the time that happened. So he started a new account, and he has just been absolutely letting the leaks rip today and over the last couple of days, going back as far as Friday. So a lot of sites are picking up on this. My Time to Shine talked about it. A lot of other streamers are talking about this also, but this is a still of the image that the person took to get down the trail. Then we get into here where they're on the set, and we get what appears to be Madripoor. Now, if you remember, Madripoor did make an appearance in Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, but it's also a massive location in X-Men. And Madripoor is kind of this island that is outside of the law, where a lot of it's very lawless, and the X-Men have a big play in Madripoor, as well as many mutants do, and Wolverine. So potentially we could be seeing more Wolverine here. Now, there are images of the video of him showing how he got in by a tree that's next to the gate, him at craft services, Crafty, because he says that security is all around, so he needs to blend in. So he's at Crafty getting himself a little tea, little juice, I don't know what it is, having a little snack. But they do show video of him at Crafty. And then we also get some other stills here, and we get what appears to be, you can't really see it on here, but it says it's the Web Slingers Inn. Now, this connects and really goes to another thing that came out in the leaks that we saw a few months ago. And there is talk of a new Champions series being in development. And we get the new Champions are going to appear in Doomsday. And that's when we got this image right here, back from those leaks a few months ago. And they're inside of a bar scene, which is being speculated to be the Web Slingers Inn on Battle World, or what have you. But this is what is being talked about as being the new Avengers, and that's where this link, or not new Avengers, sorry, that would be the Thunderbolts now, but the Web Slinger Inn and the Champions. This is our Champions team that are supposed to be being trained by Peter Quill and Wong. And that's where we get our champions. And this shot right here from this mock-up takes place inside of that Web Slingers Inn. I found that very, very interesting. Um, so that's kind of it as far as this leaked video goes of this scooper that's getting around on Avengers Doomsday. They didn't really run into any security. There was no actors being seen, nothing like that. All they really showed was these set pieces, them going to Crafty. They did kind of show their face. It was masked and covered. Take this with a grain of salt. Don't know how accurate this is. I mean, that looks kind of, you know, basic, like maybe it's done at a kindergarten or something. I don't know, but it very much, you can't deny the Madripoor stuff. Now, could this be taken? Could this shot originally have been taken from Falcon Winter Soldier, and all of this is just speculation and being made up? Sure, it could have been, but we know that Avengers Doomsday is going to take place at multiple points, so we could very much see Madripoor in Doomsday again, and I'm super stoked about it. That's it for those right there. Now we're going to move into a little bit about we'll get into more from Avengers Doomsday here in just a minute, but what I want to talk about too is Steven Yeun. We know Steven Yeun from his time on The Walking Dead. We know Steven Yeun from Invincible. He plays Mark in Invincible. But Big Scooper My Time to Shine Hello says that Steven Yeun is being eyed for a role in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that role seems to be very much focused on Mr. Negative. We all suspected that Mr. Negative was going to be coming to the MCU, was going to be the bad guy in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's pretty much, as far as speculators go, the given right now, right? Is that Mr. Negative? It's been between two people. It's been between the Spider Queen and Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative seems to be more the direction they're going by, word in the trades and kind of what casting has been talked about. And now, when Steven Yeun was originally cast to play Sentry in Thunderbolts and had to back out, it was said that Steven Yeun was in talks with Marvel to continue on and play a character in the MCU at a later date. And it looks like Mr. Negative might be that later date in that role that was being discussed. We've seen a couple names up for Mr. Negative, him just being the most recent one added to it, and pretty much the most predominant one, I would say. You could probably debate that a little bit, but I think Steven Yeun would kill it as Mr. Negative. I think he would have killed it as the Sentry, but I'm glad that we got to see the dude who played it. I can't think of his name, Bill Pullman's son, do it. So super stoked about Steven Yeun potentially joining Spider-Man Brand New Day. But like I said, it is my time to shine. Hello. You got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But let me know in the comment section below, or in a, let me know what you think of Steven Yeun potentially joining the MCU as Mr. Negative when he was supposed to be our original Sentry. But, if that's not enough news, you would think it would stop there. But I'm here to tell you, we're not done yet with all the leaks from the MCU over the last couple days. And a big one comes to us via that same James Mackwell, who's stating that, if I can get it back up here, he's told that Marvel will announce the rest of the Phase 6 at their San Diego Comic-Con panel this year, and that November 6th, 2026 date that's already on the calendar is for a third Doctor Strange film, which will be called Doctor Strange in the Incursion of Insanity. Now, it makes sense that it be called the Incursion of Insanity because this November 6th, 2026 date would be after Avengers Doomsday. So essentially, you think of Doomsday, they're going to set up Secret Wars, and we're speculating that they're going to create Battle World in this. So we would see that film play out in between the two Avengers films. But we go up a little bit, and we'll get back to, I'll cover all this stuff. He goes into depth about the plot of this Doctor Strange 4 or 3. What was it? 3? Yeah, Doctor Strange 3. And he says the film will adapt the story Time Runs Out, where Strange realizes that his magic is not enough against the incursions, so he makes a pact with dark entities, exchanging parts of his soul for corrupted power. He helps Doom create Battleworld to save the multiverse. And people have been trying to discredit this dude all day long. And he says Doctor Strange 3 will have two periods in the film for you to understand well. Moments before the final incursion on one of the battle worlds of God Doom. He says the film will adapt the storyline. Time runs out. Doctor Strange realizes that we already covered that. How crazy is that? We're going to get potentially another Doctor Strange, which plays into the time runs out storyline, which goes along with, leading into the 2015 Hickman Secret Wars. And Marvel hasn't even announced it yet. I mean, we're November 2026. That means that there's got to be a script written. Marvel's got to have a script written. Marvel's got to have a director. Marvel's got to be ready to go and start doing this movie. Or maybe they're going to have it film concurrent with what's going on in Doomsday. Now, if you remember, Benedict Cumberbatch came out at one point and said, I'm not in the next Avengers movie. Then he came back and said, I think I am in the next Avengers movie. Maybe there's some confusion there about that because of the time that this movie is going to take place. Where this movie is going to take place between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and he didn't think he was in Doomsday because his name wasn't revealed during the chairs. But I think not only are we going to get the rest of Phase 6, because we remember when we got the Phase 6 announcement, what feels like years ago, but was really 2-3 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con. It was the only two movies we got were Avengers at that time, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars. Okay, we all know what happened with Jonathan Majors and what changed, and now Kang Dynasty effectively became Doomsday. But Secret Wars was still there, and the rest of the Phase 6 slate was empty. So what do we got coming at San Diego Comic-Con? Is San Diego Comic-Con just getting that much crazier now? Because I fully expect that we're going to get the rest of the names that were withheld from the first casting reveal for Doomsday. We're going to get the rest of those. I've read spoilers and articles with people that are working on art for Doomsday that they are coming to San Diego Comic-Con with a full presentation to get us hyped for Doomsday, especially with how poorly Captain America, Brave New World, and the Thunderbolts has been received, which is a goddamn shame because the Thunderbolts was a fantastic movie. If you have not seen the Thunderbolts yet, I would recommend going to a theater and checking it out and helping that movie out because it is a phenomenal movie. The cast in it is amazing. It was directed well, so well that the director's in talks to direct the mutant movies that we're going to get after Secret Wars. And there's a whole 10-year plan in place by Feige for that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Because there's some major casting rumors going on around about that are essentially just that, rumors. But I feel like we need to talk about it. So that's that. We're going to get supposedly Doctor Strange 3, November 6th, 2026. So that means Marvel's probably they've already got to have a director attached to it, whether it's Sam Raimi or somebody else. They already have to have a script. Benedict Cumberbatch is got to be ready to go. I wonder if they hold that information until San Diego Comic-Con, like this says. We get that announcement, plus we get the announcement of the director and all that up on stage at San Diego. So it's not only Doctor Strange, but James is saying that he's being told that Marvel will announce the rest of Phase 6 in their San Diego panel again, but they'll be announcing a fifth Thor movie. The working title that this person has heard for the movie is something like Thor Hammerfall. That's a sick title, if you ask me. Thor Hammerfall is a sick title, which fits in to this time frame because remember, when we get into that time runs out storyline and all the incursions are happening going into Secret Wars, when we have that final face off between the Beyonders and Thor in that book, and Thor dies. And Hyperion as well. I can't forget about Hyperion. So Hyperion and Thor are facing off against the Beyonders, and they go at it, and Thor and Hyperion are defeated. The fall of Thor. And there's been rumors from, scoopers like My Time to Shine Hello and all the other big ones that have said this will not be the final Thor. We will see Thor beyond Secret Wars. Well, if they're going to kill Thor in Doomsday, because I think that's how Doomsday ends. I think Doomsday is going to end with that final battle. You're going to see Thor fall. You're going to see you're going to see Doctor Doom standing tall. He's going to use the sacred timelines he's going to take the timelines from Loki, use the secret timelines to create Battleworld. And Battleworld will essentially exist in the void, right? So in the comic books, when Thor dies, when Battleworld's recreated, Thor is resurrected in Battleworld. So what if Hammerfall depicts that? We see the resurrection of Thor in Battleworld. And essentially what this sets up is where we didn't think that we were going to get Battleworld movies in between these two Avengers movies. Well, what if Marvel had a change of heart and they're going to do a, executive, I don't want to say executive order, but a fast track for Battleworld movies in between these two Avengers movies. So we're going to get Doctor Strange in November. Maybe we get Thor 5 early spring. Who knows? Maybe Thor 5 is a Battleworld movie. Maybe it's what we see Thor's interaction on Battleworld and what's going on there before we see Secret Wars, before the events of Secret Wars. Because remember, if you've read the 2015 Hickman Secret Wars, only a handful of heroes know what happened and remember the universe before Doctor Doom recreated Battleworld. Taika Waititi's out, new director in. We'll have to wait and see what happens at San Diego Comic-Con. I will be there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to subscribe to us on Twitter, all social media platforms, because I will be at San Diego Comic-Con covering this, and I will be in the Marvel panel to cover this as well. But this is some interesting news, and I expect Marvel to go hard at San Diego Comic-Con this year. Absolutely hard. Moving on to more San Diego Comic-Con news. Potential is that World War Hulk is still very much in play. And World War Hulk, we kind of already saw maybe some spoilers of that in that released artwork a few months ago. And a lot of word is that Hulk is going to go back to being more to the Savage Hulk and not Banner Hulk. I'm down for it. I'm here for it. Excited for it. World Hulk would be awesome. And it would be awesome that fits into before Secret Wars as well. And when, the world is recreated by Doom, Banner Hulk ceased to exist and he goes back to being a more savage Hulk. I don't know, although I think in the promo art, he is still Banner Hulk. But still. Then he says that Avengers Secret Wars will be split into 2 parts, and that a third Avengers movie will have a different name than part 2 for May 2028. That was the worry about this Secret Wars movie, is that there's so much in this Avengers and this Secret Wars comic run that is being that they're adapting to the Secret Wars movie, that you almost worry that it's going to be too much, too grandiose, that things are going to feel rushed or lost because of, they got to fit so much in a 2 to 3 hour movie. it makes sense that they could potentially split Avengers into a Secret Wars into 2 movies, and they're just not telling us that yet. Being held for a big surprise, a big reveal at San Diego Comic-Con. Listen, like I said, I think San Diego Comic-Con this year is going to be massive with Marvel stuff. We saw it last year with the release of Deadpool Wolverine the same weekend. This year, the release of Fantastic Four the same weekend as Comic-Con. That Comic-Con Friday is the opening night for Fantastic Four. Well, really, it's going to open the Wednesday before, but even that's preview night. So the first nights of San Diego Comic-Con, the mecca of nerds, they're opening Fantastic Four. Marvel's going to be coming with heat with Doomsday, especially after the response they got last year with the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. Marvel's going to be coming to some heat. You could take these with a grain of salt. It's a scooper. Take it with a grain of salt, a whole pound of salt. But remember, if you remember back, the timelines add up here. We never got that full reveal of Phase 6. It was just the 2 Avengers movies, with being told more would be revealed later on. And we all thought, great, D23, let's go. We're going to get more. D23 came and went. We got nothing. Nothing. So what are we going to get at San Diego? And like I said, fast track to get these Battle World movies in. We already know Spider-Man 4 is being talked about. Brand New Day is being talked about as being a Battle World movie. It's a movie that takes place at the same exact time as Doomsday. Or does it? We don't know that Tom Holland's been in there. Right now, word is Tom Holland's contract is at a standstill because Sony and Marvel can't negotiate an amount for him. And it hasn't been finalized. Or has it? I believe that it has, and they're playing it close to the chest. But we know from leakers, because let's be honest, Brand New Day has not been a well-kept secret even from its conception. We've seen 3 or 4 drafts of script come out. Tom Holland and Zendaya have said, we read a script for it. We were doing backflips and jumping around our hotel room. But now it's changed. Friday, we got the news that Sadie Sink, it may not be Mary Jane. We thought she's going to be Jean Grey. Doesn't sound like that's going to happen, because if you believe My Time to Shine Hello, who has a great track record, and you tend to want to believe her, Sadie Sink isn't going to be Jean Grey because, well, Marvel hasn't locked down a director. And so because they're still in director's talk and they don't intend to reveal any of the new X-Men till after Secret Wars, they're not in any hurry to cast that. So Sadie Sink's going to be, for all people are saying, the original Jackpot. I don't think so. Now we get word as of Friday that it's come out that Sadie Sink's role is Mayday Parker. We've heard it go back and forth. Sony wants a multiverse movie. Marvel wants a street level hero movie. Sony wants Sony wants this. Marvel wants that. This script says it's this. This script says it's that. Well, which is it? And I think there's fake stories being put out there to intentionally take people like myself, my colleagues that do this on YouTube as well, other scoopers, off the trail. But it doesn't seem to be working because I feel like they still underestimate the internet community, especially comic book fans in the internet community, how well we are at putting pieces together and finding this stuff out. So I really think that there could be potentially a surprise for a third Avengers movie if, and Secret Wars is in 2 parts at San Diego Comic-Con. I could fully see we get the announcement of another Hulk movie, World War Hulk. We get, Hulk has been one of those movies, I believe it's with Paramount, that is just, the rights to it are so just murky that's why Marvel hasn't done a Hulk movie, because the Hulk can appear, but they can't do a Hulk movie. Maybe that's been worked out. Thor, Hammerfall It's a sweet title. We could potentially get another Thor movie at the beginning of Battle World, where all these movies culminate into the events of Battle World, and they all end with the heroes, that remember what took place before Battle World, collecting heroes to uprise against God Emperor Doom. We didn't think that Nathaniel Richards was going to be in Fantastic Four First Steps. But then it started coming out, oh, well, First Steps title, it might be a misdirection where it's not talking about them getting their powers. It's talking about the first steps of a child. And that's been pretty much through promos and Funko Pops and everything else already been proven to be true, that Franklin Richards is, in fact, in Fantastic Four. So much so that I think the plot of Fantastic Four is that Galactus is coming to this world in search of Nathaniel Richards. So much so that this could be, when we see him twice in the trailer, his feet walking through the city, I think that's his second time coming to this planet. And the first time is when he's looking through the window looking for Nathaniel Richards. Nathaniel Richards, if you don't know, he's a mutant, Omega level mutant that has the power to warp realities. At one point he tries to create life, universes. I think that's going to come into a massive play here. I don't know. San Diego's 2 months away. It's hard to believe that San Diego Comic-Con is literally 2 months away. It is July 23rd. I believe is preview night. I have tickets. I know it. Yeah, July 23rd is preview night. It is May 19th. We're just about 2 months and a couple days away from San Diego Comic-Con. Like I said, I think Marvel's going to come out with some heat, especially since they haven't been well received. Captain America: Brave New World flopped. Thunderbolts is flopping, even though it's a good movie. Superman comes out at the same time. Fantastic Four. There's a lot of talk going on in this space. And Marvel hasn't been receiving the praise they're used to. They're kind of in this area where nobody's really rushing out to see them. They're not a spectacle. It's not an event. So my thought is look for Marvel to use San Diego as that catalyst to make these next Avengers movies an event. Looking for Marvel to finalize plans to make the rest of Phase 6 an event that makes you want to go to the theaters, that makes you put your butt in seats, which is why I think a lot of this stuff is being leaked purposely and given to scoopers. Like this from the 16th, from Friday. This gentleman says, okay, attention, I received information that the Wolverine actor for the X-Men reboot has already been cast by Marvel. He's between 38 and 40 years old. And Daphne Keane, Laura Kinney, will be back as X-23 in Avengers Doomsday as a member of the Exiles, and that the Exiles are coming to Doomsday. And remember, we got that report that Doomsday is going to include potentially a bunch of heroes we've never seen before that are only going to be in this movie and nowhere else. Well, I feel like the Exiles could fit that, right? So much here. So much news coming out today regarding this stuff. Then, again, we talked about the Champions already. And he's not backing down. Like, even though people are trying to discredit this dude, just James Mackwell, he's not coming down. He says, you can come July, you can lock it in. You can pay me come July. Let's do it. Man, that sounds pretty confident in your sources, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Doctor Strange does get changed to Time Runs Out title instead of Incursions of Insanity, because that's too close to Multiverse of Madness. But I don't know, man. It just seems like it all fits together really well. Discredit, don't discredit. By all means, take it with a grain of salt, but prepare yourself for Marvel at San Diego launching a nuke over the bow to come in at DC hot, especially with the word of how Superman and the leaks on Superman and the way people are receiving Superman. If Marvel looks to go for that kill shot, I I don't think we're getting that new and improved Kevin Feige. Bob Iger says Thunderbolts is the new way of Marvel. We're gonna have more more Marvel movies, the tone of Thunderbolts. Focus more on the movies, less on Disney Plus. We're gonna take so much off of Kevin Feige's plate that he can focus back on one thing at a time. So we're gonna get that cold-blooded killer of a man in Kevin Feige back, and he'll go for the kill shot on DC if the Superman stuff holds up, and he can. And even if it does, if Superman explodes the beginning of July and is killing it and on track to outpace Fantastic Four, you can't tell me and you can't convince me that Kevin Feige isn't going to go nuclear at San Diego Comic-Con. The biggest stage in the world, knowing that all eyes are on Comic-Con, he's going to go for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if all this turns out to be true. I think we'll start hearing more rumblings of this as true. Remember, his account was deleted, so people are trying to discredit him. But to his credit, he's claiming to be the guy who leaked the script again for Multiverse of Madness, and that script turned out to be 100% accurate. Can you take credit for someone else's work? Of course, you can. But I digress. Why would you want to make a name for yourself and not build your name off the backs of others, right? So if you can be known as a big time scooper and get your name in there with the likes of, My Time to Shine Hello and all these other hot people from the hot mic stuff, why wouldn't you do it? Right? All right. We had some big X-Men casting news on Friday that My Time to Shine Hello came out with. I know I'm saying her name a lot today, but that Daniel Day-Lewis, or Marvel, was eyeing an actor the caliber of Daniel Day-Lewis to portray Magneto in the new X-Men movie. And where there's smoke, there's fire, as this James Mackwell confirmed My Time to Shine Hello's report that was going to happen, and that not only are they looking at an actor the caliber of Daniel Day-Lewis to play Magneto, they're looking for another actor with a higher caliber to play Charles Xavier that can play off Daniel Day-Lewis and not seem like Daniel Day-Lewis, who's a fantastic actor and his ability is overpowering, said Charles Xavier, because they're both key pivotal benchmarkers in that movie and in the X-Men universe. And the biggest name that's come out of that is Bryan Cranston. Now, they're not saying that Daniel Day-Lewis is going to play Magneto. They just said a Daniel Day-Lewis type. But there's also been talk that they're willing to offer his son a directorial option for one of the Mutants movies. And potentially, because I know that the director of Thunderbolts is already attached to, or supposedly attached to it, but rumor has it he hasn't signed their deal yet. Marvel and him have not put pen to paper, so maybe they're holding out because with the way Marvel's going, they have to do something. They have to change it up. Either they're going to go back to the no-name actors, but I think right now they're in a place where they can't afford to do that. They have to show that they still have the ability to release bangers, and I think they're going to go for broke and try to get someone the caliber of Daniel Day-Lewis. How can they, everyone's like, oh, well, Daniel Day-Lewis isn't going to come to an MCU movie. He's not going to do superhero movies. He's a thespian. He's the greatest actor ever in some people's eyes. Well, look at the state of cinema right now. Look at the state of the movie theaters. All right. You have movies like the Minecraft movie killing it. but Hollywood is dying. The movie industry is dying. What better way to entice someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, who doesn't need the money, doesn't need the accolades, than to come back and say, listen, Marvel Studios is not only in the superhero business, but we're in the save Hollywood business. We need you to come help us save Hollywood. You don't think Daniel Day-Lewis would be down to play Magneto? Someone who is of Jewish heritage, I believe himself, and say, you can come play one of the most badass Jewish characters in entertainment history in Magneto and help us save cinema. And as a special caveat, we'll let your son direct one of the X-Men movies. I know you're retired. You're coming out of retirement for your son, but come out of retirement to help us save the industry you help build and love by playing one of the most badass characters in pop culture. And let's do this together. Pretty enticing pitch to me, if I do say so myself. If Kevin Feige wants to pull out the big guns and do that, I think it would be amazing. I also think that Bryan Cranston, think Walter White, man. Charles Xavier, Walter White. Look what he did with that character. I think he's got the chops to do it, especially playing off Daniel Day-Lewis. I think Bryan Cranston is one of those guys that has the ability to set the tone like he does in Breaking Bad, but also elevate to the people he's working with. And I think that Daniel Day-Lewis would do that for Bryan Cranston and elevate him to give us that good, maybe not necessarily the wholesome Charles Xavier we're known for, but a more conflicted Charles Xavier that we've seen in comics, because we know he does have that kind of darker side too. Not just the good for all of humanity side. He does kind of have that darker side too. And I think Bryan Cranston could channel that, both of those sides of Xavier, and give us one hell of a performance as Charles Xavier. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that Charles Xavier, or that Bryan Cranston would be a great Charles Xavier? Do you think Daniel Day-Lewis would actually come out of retirement other than and go beyond just his son's movie and potentially be Magneto? It's a cool thing to think about, right? Really, when you break it down. All right. And our last piece of news today that I want to talk about is we got our first look at promo art for Galactus for Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't in a trailer, but I think maybe we'll get that. But maybe Marvel's trying to save that for something else. But we got this little piece of promo art here that came out that, here's the full Thanos look, or not Thanos, Galactus look here from that promo art. We already saw the boots in the trailer walking through the city. We saw the face and a close up in the window in like the first teaser trailer. But then we got a high res closer up of his face. And man, that looks cool. I like all of the like almost like ship looking aspect to it, of the old like maybe glyphs written on him. He just looks old. The tattoos on his face, he looks ancient. He looks really, really cool. And I hope that this transfers well to the movie. I even hope they keep those glowing eyes, because I think they are fantastic. But that's kind of it. That's what I wanted to talk about today, is just all this Marvel stuff, man. Marvel they got a problem with leaks, leakier than a faucet right now, especially if their San Diego Comic-Con plans are already leaking. I don't know, but I'm hyped for it. I'm super hyped for Fantastic Four. I'm hyped for San Diego Comic-Con. I think, like I said, Marvel is going to go scorched earth at Comic-Con to show the world what we got coming out, to show the world that they're still number one in the superhero market, and that they still got it, and that, okay, maybe phase 4 and 5 were a little bit of a letdown and not up to par, and that maybe they lost their way after Endgame. But we kind of saw with Thunderbolts, they're getting back to that formula as before they were just before or not since Endgame were they showing mid-credit and after-credit scenes that connected to the next movie, but Thunderbolts, they sure did that one with that after-credit scene that I'm sure all of you've seen by now because it was online and all that with the Fantastic Four leading us into Doomsday coming out and saying, "Hey, well, especially the director of Thunderbolts coming out and say, "Hey, we didn't film that. That was filmed by the Russos on the set of Avengers Doomsday." What a what a time, man. I'm so stoked for Marvel. Marvel feels like it's fully back, especially after Thunderbolts. I'm excited by these leaks or rumors of the new direction. I'm excited by the pictures from this guy who supposedly, air quotes, snuck into the set of Doomsday. Take that with a grain of salt, what you will. But again, let me know in the comment section below. What do you think of all these rumors? What do you think of everything that's going on? Do you think there's any truth behind all this stuff? Or do you think that these scoopers are just way off base here? Um, Again, what do you think about Daniel Day-Lewis coming to play Magneto, Bryan Cranston as Charles Xavier? Do you think that Bryan Cranston, aka Walter White himself, would be a good Charles Xavier? Personally, I do, but we're here to start up a conversation as we're a community. So I want to know your opinions because you just listened to mine for 41 minutes, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and checking out the podcast. If you liked everything we do here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're on the YouTubes, and turn that notification bell on so you know whenever we drop a new video or go live. If you're listening to us on our audio portion of the podcast, make sure to go to your favorite audio podcast platform and leave us a review and a like, as it goes a long way to help us out and potentially let us know what else you would like to see here. I hope to be doing a lot more Absolute Geek podcasts. I know it's been kind of sporadic, but we've got a lot of great content in this on this channel right now. We're doing a wrestling podcast on Thursday nights called Off the Mat. If you're a wrestling fan and you haven't checked that out yet, please make sure you do so. Also, I will be dropping a new best and worst covers of the week tonight or tomorrow, as well as pickups on Wednesday or Thursday. So we got a lot of great content coming on here every single week. I appreciate you guys so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, interacting, being part of the Absolute Geek Army, this community that I love so, so much. And we're going to end it there. And we're going to say, if you want more great content on this channel, make sure to check out one of the links below after my dumb face goes off the screen. I love your faces, and we'll see you guys in the next one.